Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I have a story here from Iowa that I wish to talk about. With that being said, let us get into it. And once again, shout out to Law and Crime. Let's get it.
I'm not going to sit here and say I killed my husband just because I might be off 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I did not.
Our story begins in Centerville, Iowa, a historic town with a rich coal mining heritage. On the morning of May 5th, 2018, the Appanoose County Sheriff's Office Communications Center received a concerning 911 call.
Hey, this is Roger. There's a house fire at 828 South Park.
828 South Park, okay.
Yeah.
You can see the flames?
There's smoke coming out of an open window and nobody's home.
I'm going to hold the fire department. 828 South Park, right?
828 South Park, yep.
Smoke coming out of the window. All right, I'll let them know.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Neighbors attempted to help by calling out for anyone who was inside the burning residence. They received no response. Here's the body cam footage of the first responding officer.
Anytime there's no sound,
Okay.
is it a muffled sound? Hold on. Anytime that it goes silent, is it a muffled sound or people's personal information? So when it goes silent, I'm letting you guys know that it's not me, it's Law and Crime that's doing it. Let's get back into it.
Terrible 111. Let the fire department know that there is a lot of smoke coming out of the east side of the house. Do you know if anybody's home? Or they all left? Okay. Centerville. Also, the neighbors say that everybody has been out of the house.
Shortly after, Centerville Fire Rescue arrived on scene. The fire rescue chief, Vern Milburn, had his helmet cam on throughout the incident. When they opened the front door, a dog ran out of the residence, and there was heavy black smoke from floor to ceiling.
Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, please. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, please.
The firefighters worked their way down the hallway and toward the active flames. The fire was primarily in the master bedroom. As the visibility increased, the firefighters made a gruesome discovery. On the bed, they found the charred remains of a middle-aged man. corners of the residence. It was the home of Tim and Barbara Pazza and their two children, Owen and Kate. The firefighters recognized the deceased man as 50-year-old Tim Pazza.
Check the room real quick, maybe in it, and then go do a tour of the whole house. And then I'll have you back up through if you need help. All right, there you go. All right, nothing clear. Yeah, nothing clear. Right here. Here, good. Okay, closet's clear. All right. The second's clear. All right, going down. Yep, that's clear. Take it outside. Put it right out there. I don't want to do that. Buddy, okay. All right, contact with the county. Things clear. We're good with it. Right down here. I'm going to check with here. Okay, this is clear.
Guys, welcome to the Vlad Catcher Show, the #1 show for founders, execs, and entrepreneurs who are scaling.
Battery clear.
Tap the screen, please. Tap the screen.
First floor clear. We're going to the basement. Basement's clear. Yep. I think we're good, Donnie. There's two kids. Are they accounted for? Well, they went here. I've done a complete search of both rooms. I'm going to go do it again. One of the girls, supposedly somebody told me was on a bus to a meet or something somewhere. There's two kids. They were accounted for. Well, yeah, it was the Owen and his sister, Katie. But I think Katie, they said was going to a meet somewhere. I don't know about Owen.
The Centerville police chief, Tom Demery, was made aware of the situation. He was shocked to learn of Tim's passing. The two had known each other since high school. Timothy Dale Pazza was born and raised in Centerville. He attended Centerville High School, where he made lifelong friends. Family friend Sonia Carson said Tim was an all-around good guy. Chief Demery said that Tim and their friends would set up their instruments in his parents' garage. He said Tim played the guitar as well as anybody he'd ever heard. Rich Parker, Tim's friend, said music was his outlet, and that Tim was the lead guitarist in a fabulous country band. At one of the band's shows in 1999, Tim met 25-year-old local Barbara Glasscock. Sonia said that Barbara grew up in Centerville, and that she worked as a nurse. She described Barbara as funny and witty. After a few months of dating, Tim and Barbara were engaged and then got married. Not long after, they started a family. Rich said that Tim was a very present father. He attended every event, and any time they spoke, he bragged about his kids and what they were doing. Tim worked as a customer service representative for Alliant Energy, a local utility provider. Barbara worked as a nurse in the surgical unit at Mercy One Medical Center. A decade after they wed, the couple purchased and remodeled a home. From outward appearances, Tim and Barbara seemed to have a great life. Back at the Pazza residence, firefighters moved Tim's body into the ambulance. Inside the bedroom, Fire Chief Milburn noticed a candle on the floor. The smoke alarm inside the bedroom was also on the floor, and its battery was out of the compartment. Fire Chief Milburn said that the alarm was not melted or burned like in a typical fire. On the opposite side of the house, they located another smoke alarm between the two kids' bedrooms. The battery compartment was open, rendering the device inactive. Neighbors finally got in contact with Barbara, informing her of the house fire. She rushed to the scene. When she arrived, Officer Moore advised her of Tim's death. He said that Barbara didn't seem to have any emotion. Law enforcement and Barbara's friends believe she was in shock and overwhelmed. The police asked Barbara about when she left the house that morning and whether she knew why the smoke detectors had been disarmed. She told them that she left the house around 7 a.m. She had been baking the night before, and something had burned, setting off the smoke alarms. Barbara said Tim took the batteries out of the smoke detectors until the smoke cleared. Officer Moore told Barbara that Tim was in the ambulance and that he had been burned severely. She was insistent on spending some time with him. Officer Moore provided her a couple of minutes to spend alone with Tim. Sonia said that when she emerged from the ambulance, she was stoic. Sonia thought that when Barbara did have an emotional breakdown, it was going to be bad. Officer Moore told Barbara that an autopsy would be conducted. He said that she became upset and believed she should have a say in that decision. The officer thought that Barbara's reaction was unusual, but he felt she was probably overwhelmed by the situation. Police and fire personnel were concerned that Tim appeared not to attempt to move away from the flames. The fire marshal said that in his opinion, the candle wasn't the source of the fire. He said the fire burned rapidly on top of the bed and more intensely on the side where Tim was sleeping, which was the opposite side of where the candle was located. A few days after the incident, Barbara came in for an interview.
Hi, Barb. It's not very good. I wouldn't mind getting away.
You remember me then yesterday? All right, so my name's Don from BCA. Thanks for coming down. I know you got a lot going on, and thanks actually for calling and saying come early. So we can get down there earlier. I'll tell you. There's officers that walk by. It's okay if I show this. Okay, it's not locked. Down here. How's things going with the kids and everything today?
We went and filed for the SSI benefit, so that kind of, I was trying to be the man of the house, so basically about finances and all that stuff, but for me today, it's probably worse than
Yeah, just with everything come down.
I'm nervous about what, figuring out what happened, what's going on, and I don't know. Yesterday, talking about the arrangements and stuff, but we're supposed to get a call from, we're supposed to have his autopsy maybe today.
Okay.
So I've been anxious about that call. I can be cool and collective and nothing bothers me, but this has really got me stressed. Just, this processing all answers.
Right. So sometimes in cases like this, the police department ask the fire marshal and send in the DCA to come and kind of help out, figure out what's going on. You know, these are sudden. Everybody wants an answer. You're going to want answers. We find that Owen and Kate, they're going to want answers on what happened with them. So we come in with the benefit of we don't know anybody. We just don't know any history or anything about them. But it's also sometimes a detriment because I don't know you and I got to get a background on you. And I know it's not the easiest to talk. Someone passed it away, but I think it's important for me to get kind of an understanding of the house and kind of the situation in the last weeks and, the morning when you left, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to kind of talk about that if you're up to it and kind of go through that.
Try to do what I can.
Okay, so tell me, I guess, about you and Tim. You guys have been married very long?
18 years, so long. It's only been 18 years in October.
Okay. And you work, right?
Yeah.
Where do you work at?
I work at Mercy Medical, so I'm a nurse.
What are you there?
Right now I'm a circulator in the OR.
Sounds fancy. What's that?
Basically, I do the charting, and if they need instruments, I get the instruments and bring the patient back, get them ready.
You've been out there. Is that here in Centerville?
It'll be 5 years in July. I did about 12 years of hospice.
Okay. That stuff.
I find it rewarding.
Yeah.
I've been diabetic since I was 16, so I need more structure. As much as I love the 3 12-hour days, you're not as productive as you think you could be
Right.
on those days, and just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I saw you must take insulin for that then. Yeah.
Got 2 healthy kids, and
And I'm right with that. Owen and Kate. How old are they then?
Owen is 16, and Kate will be 15 in June.
And biological kid is 10 then.
He played in a band.
Yeah, I saw the guitars. Quite the collection.
Yeah, played in a band, and my niece actually, we were joking this weekend, but she was currently in a relationship, and he was just like, no. So he chased me for a while, and I was chasing somebody else, and it was kind of mean to him. But we should have got used to it. And eventually, went on a couple of dates, and he was kind of a mommy's boy, and he was 30-something when we got together, so we lived right next door to his parents, and going band. At that time, bands played every weekend.
Right.
2 nights a week, so he made decent money to live on, but not support family. But so he tended to his mom through the week and played in the bands. Owen was supposed to be our only child because I was so high risk. I had to plan him for about a year, but Kate, she was a little accident.
Yeah. Tim worked. Did he?
recently in Alliance, customer service. So when he called in, he's the one that you yelled at about why your bill was so much. So it was stressful on me, but obviously I could practice because he worked with me and Kate. So but I don't think it was that bad. He told me some stories, phone calls.
How was things going for him at work and at home?
Well, he was really stressed at work. At home, we've been married 18 years. Just kind of getting different. We had different interests. And I had been doing different stuff, and he was playing with the band again, and we're just kind of in a lull, just kind of hovering.
Right. Yeah, it's my 16th anniversary, so I kind of know that you kind of have those ups and downs.
Yeah.
Wait, were you guys just still together, or were you guys thinking about going your separate ways, or? I always wonder, you kind of sometimes you stick together.
Sometimes fight, and I just want to know that every time, not just this year, other years when we fight, I tell him to leave, and never even leave his kids. I don't know that we were super strong and lovey-dovey, but we're still together. No, I'm not sure that happy would describe our relationship, but not unhappy.
Yeah.
We just kind of exist together.
Yeah, so it's like sleep together and everything. So,
Yeah. And the dog.
Yeah, and the dog. Yeah, your dog got lucky there, didn't he? And then your kids sound like they're active in sports, and you said track.
Owen does soccer too, and Kate does soccer.
It's America, and it's a tough year for everybody, but how are you guys sitting that way?
Well, probably live paycheck to paycheck. We got behind on our mortgage and had to refinance and some creditors, but they stressed that stuff.
Were you guys able to find common ground, at least to handle?
He handled the bills for a while. He got tired of it and kind of half-assed handed them back to me, but then he'd pay certain times. There's passwords now that I don't know because those are the ones he did. Right. He just kind of lived a little too freely and had a little online shopping.
Yeah, we all kind of have those things where.
Yeah, as much as we fought, or I had it, issues or problems, he was usually supportive. He always said he loved me. A couple years ago, when he thought I was doing bad things, I denied I didn't do anything.
So you think you're stepping out maybe or something like that?
Part of soccer stuff, but I did.
Yeah, just like some of the parents spend a lot of time with them.
And the coach, just because it's a new person and he was, friendly relationship, but that never happened. But he kind of accused me, and he said even if it did happen, he loved me and he'd forgive me. So
if you guys argue, it's more just verbal arguments.
Yeah.
And they're physical. Yeah. Were they close with them or not?
Yes, very close. Especially.
Okay.
He has his dad's passion for music. Kind of self-taught himself to play guitar.
Right.
Share the same crazy taste in music. And so, he's probably closer than Kate. Kate's
I'll be right back in a second, y'all.
Kate's
Hold
the
on.
second me. A lot of times I don't have to say what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Me, a lot most times I don't have to say what I'm thinking because it's already came out of her mouth. You know, she'd argue with her dad or be impatient with her dad, but the next day it'd be, you know, it'd all be back to normal and, you know, teenage stuff.
Right. Like I said, kind of our goal is, you know, we bring the expertise down and kind of look over the scene and help everybody figure out kind of what happened with the fire and kind of how things are going. I guess you need time to talk about this weekend, I guess, Friday. Is that normal for Owen and his dad go for walks in?
Yeah, more than the rest of us.
Was that late or after dinner?
No, it's before dinner because nobody could decide what we were going to order from. So finally, Owen sent me a text to order George and Nick's.
So they went for the walk to come back at dinner. Do you guys eat like as a family then, or is it kind of grab and go?
Just kind of wherever. I usually watch TV in the living room. We all like different things, and sometimes he sat in the bedroom and watched the ball game. I don't know really what he did that night. The last time I talked to him before I went to bed, he was out somewhere strumming on one of his guitars. He liked to stay up late and listen. He had different shows. He loved to watch his music in concerts and would tape them. You know, you can find him on Netflix or Sling, some of the documentaries or, you know, of my concert. It was all about his music. I hated his music.
What kind of music's that?
Rush, Jeff Beck, kind of, you know, a lot of times we ate supper at the table, but it was a Friday night. Goes in his room, plays Xbox. Kay goes in her room and watches, you know, she's got TV on the wall, but most of the time she watches whatever she wants on her phone. Tim and I didn't really agree on shows either, so that was normal that we were in different rooms doing different things.
Are the kids aware that you guys are kind of growing apart?
Yeah, because of the last one of the fights a couple weeks ago, they finally said, "Do you think you guys would be happier apart?" But I mean, then the next 2 weeks have been okay, you know. So.
Do you think your last major argument was a couple weeks before?
We were finances. I don't know. That kind of always stressed us out.
Right. Is that you kept saying it made you stressed because from work, or was it mainly the finances?
Probably a combination of both. My mom actually told me how stressed he was at work.
And then what time do you think everybody went to bed?
I was probably 11:30, 12.
So you had 11:30, and you said Tim was still awake.
Yeah.
And then both kids were home by then.
Yeah, they probably went to bed about 10. Actually, I woke them up until about 5:30.
Did they know you were going to go to the game, or do you have to drive them, or how's it?
No, they drive themselves to the bus, and the bus took them.
Okay. So do you remember Tim coming to bed at all?
No. But I had a sure low about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And he was in bed then.
Then at 5:30 when you got up, does he wake up with your alarm?
No.
Do you guys talk at all?
No.
Any plans? He has nothing going with you or anything?
Well, usually he sets his own alarm and we'll get up if he's going to go. And, you know, I know it made plenty of noise. I had a light on and I waited for the kids to get all their stuff done. I cooked them some eggs and we had some cinnamon rolls. So I made them some breakfast because I knew it would be a long day. And went in and took a shower once they left. When I got out of the shower, I said, "Are you going with me?" And he said he didn't feel good. And he won't roll over and back to sleep.
What time do you think that was?
Probably 6:30, 7:15.
Did that kind of show off that he didn't go, or is it?
No, like I said, he wasn't one that was about to go all the time. So we always kind of felt like if they had at least one parent there, we never, you know, even if they did travel basketball and different things, but we always felt like they got hurt, one of us should be there. My uncle was having the windows open, but all of a sudden just the dog smell was just, I was gagging. So that's why I lit the candle.
Do you remember? Tell me about that, I guess, then.
I had it in the bathroom with me. You know, he just said he was nauseated and the smells really bother me. So when I left, I set it on his nightstand and kind of get rid of that because she had been sleeping there on the pile of dirty clothes beside his bed.
So what time do you think you left?
We left at 7. My goal was to be out before 7 because I knew it was about 2 hours. I knew I had to stop to get some gas. I'd never make it all the way.
Did you talk to anybody on the phone? Did you meet up with any other moms or anything like that?
But I went and got some cash at the farmer's bank and
Just to the ATM then?
Yeah.
Were you able to get cash?
Yeah.
So when you were heading out of town, I guess when you left, did you see any smoke or putting the candle in his room and kind of checking on him and saying he's
so I
not there?
went left.
It's like the last thing you did before you left, right?
Yeah.
And then you went out. And you went and got cash. So tell me about your drive then. Did you catch up the bus? Did you see anybody? How far did you get? You said you didn't notice any phone calls?
Well, I was north of Gordon and I finally got a ding.
Was that somebody telling you if there was an issue at your house or?
My first one was Kate. She had screenshotted a Facebook thing from Show.
Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, please. Please tap the screen.
Bug in our house died within 3 days. My pest control expert showed me how homeowners are getting these.
Their house was on fire.
Okay. What did you do then next then after you saw that?
Well, I pulled over and tried to make some phone calls. I think I tried to talk to her, and our phone got cut off. Because I didn't know, should I go get my kids? Because they were freaking out, you know. I didn't know what to do. You know, my first instinct was to protect my kids.
So what were you told on the phone then?
That my house was on fire. And Bethany asked me, you know, where we were at, because she didn't know. And I remember just squealing out, Tim was in the house.
You ever try to call them?
No.
No, anybody did.
I know when I didn't answer for my mom, she did. Because if she can't get a hold of me, she'll call Tim. And he didn't answer, so she was freaking out. I don't know if anybody else did or not.
And then, what did you do next?
Well, I finally figured out that I should turn around. And so, I flew back. I guess I just assumed Tim was normal and moved.
And then, I guess you got back. What did you see? You got home.
I think I either got a text or a call from Owen, and the neighbor kid had told him that he knew somebody was in the ambulance. So maybe that's when I tried to call Bethany again. And she told me I just needed to come to the house. She didn't tell me anything. So when I pulled up, I parked and I could tell by the look on Wee Doobie's face. For sure.
And that's a lot to take in. You know, like you said, our job's going to put things together and try to figure out what happened. Yeah, you said when you're out there, you watch a lot of CSI shows. What do you think maybe happened?
I don't know. I know that Mike was nice enough to fulfill my wish, or not wish, my request to see him. And I hope to God he wasn't alive when that happened to him. I don't know what happened. I mean, we're going to cremate him. That's not what I would have picked in this scenario. The whole fire thing just floats me out. I mean, smelling smoke now, or Mom's neighbors were having a bonfire Saturday night. About pushed me over the edge to think of that. Tim's my husband. I can't say we were madly in love, but I loved him. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Not knowing. Just crazy.
And that's kind of one of the things we try to remember. I always talk with people because I wasn't there. And somehow this house started on fire. Figure out how that happened. Now we're doing the autopsy and couldn't understand it, what their findings are. You understand that process, right? And our lab team down here and the fire marshal down here to do a investigation.
From that, did you figure anything out?
You know that they're still working up there, so we'll step out and try to get that answer for you today. But my goal here is, I want to talk about you. I want to make sure that there's nothing that we need to discuss because the science is there. We're pretty good at determining things that are going to happen. If it was the candle, they're going to be able to tell me if it was or was not. it's not the candle. We have to figure out what else was there that might have started the fire. Our medication tends to help the guy. I don't think he's gonna pass with some kind of natural causes and then somehow the house started on fire. That doesn't make sense, right? So we need to look at all those aspects, but at the same time, we want to give individuals the opportunity if they maybe saw or heard something to help us with the investigation too, because we're going to put things together and it's going to come out, and we want to make sure that we have full understanding. We're just trying to figure out what happened. I mean, what would make you think that?
I don't know. I've never been through this process before. I don't know. I know you have to look at everybody. If that's what you're thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, and we've been doing this kind of like a long time, and look at it. That's what we come down to, and I think most families appreciate that. Right?
Yeah. I'm just.
But I'm also a realist, so I look at things and I prepare myself for if things come back different. But is there another explanation that I'm missing? Sometimes the facts come together in a case and they point in one direction, and black and white it might look like this, but there might be more to the story. And that's my job is to talk with people.
Right.
I'm kind of getting better because I'm going to hear that maybe your relationship wasn't that well with them. Say that, don't you agree?
But we didn't fight public. We just. I'm more social for people that I like. Where Tim was just, when I'm talking to other friends, he talked to you.
Finances were a little tough.
Yeah.
They definitely were. Look like maybe you're behind a little bit on your house.
Well, they refinanced. We've been like 6 months behind. So we did a loan program. So we've gotten that back on track. That was just some bad spending.
Sometimes, I guess, how's that going to work? Get your insurance up to date?
That was part of the mortgage or the escrow, all that stuff.
Do you guys have life insurance?
Yes, and I just did upped his policy. Mine, I'm kind of aware with my diabetes. I think there's 100,000 on me, plus I have 2 years of my salary. And I think at Alliant, his was just a year and a half. And so with their increments, we looked at going up more, but they're all.
I know to some of y'all that this may be boring, but in order for them to solve the case, you have no choice but to get through the interrogation process. And this is basically what's going on here is the interrogation process. Now, most likely, when they do the interrogation process, they're sitting there going through the house, processing it, all this, that, and the third. So this here is part of the case. Hold on. I'll get us right here in a second. There we go.
We looked at going up more, but they're only valuing $25,000. So I had upped him for mine, and he got approved. And that was just something that we had talked about because he died younger. I really thought I had more on Tim before, but had missed this process. But we wanted to make sure our house, things were taken care of. I have extra on the kids. I think I have 25,000 apiece on the kids just to cover if something would happen.
What were you able to do on that? Or on tenants?
They okayed for the 200,000.
So I appreciate knowing that because that's the stuff we're going to find out. I guess it kind of when the DCA comes in, if you're not familiar with this, we work investigations and then we can only do one. Somebody dies, we don't have one protocol for doing a case that's to the full extent. So we can't come in here and just spend a day. No, we have to spend it, do all our checks on our boxes, right? So with that, we need to look like Excel records and that kind of stuff. And then it gives us a good idea, where you're at when things go, and where you're at maybe when you had somebody's phone call, that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm going to ask you those questions of where you think you're at. We can look at the bank and see if you had help us with the timeline that you left. Is there any concerns you have about him we might find that you want to get out now because anything nasty text messages you guys send each other or anything like that?
Actually, our conversations were better with text messages. You know, we weren't, we could be in a room and not talk. But, you know, what do you want for supper? Throw this in the trash or do this. That's how we communicated, was through text messages. There were no bad text, you know. Trying to work in Owen's room, redoing it. Every time I came out, he was sitting watching the ball game. Could you vacuum? Could you do this and that?
Yeah, you're trying to be super mom and just kind of.
Yeah, so we had a few words that day. Some kids said, you'd be happier. I always had to get to a little boiling point and then you went to it.
My goal here is not prepare myself for what I think that maybe information is going to come out from the autopsy or from the fire investigation that's not going to maybe correlate with information they've given us. And the reason I say that is I want to be able to talk about that a little bit because I can understand stressors at home, and I talk with people, and I talk with relationships that you try for years to make right, and sometimes they don't get right. And no matter what you do, there's no good outlet. And yeah, finances on top of that, there's a lot of stress going on. Would be the first person I talked to that was one of those tipping points for a relationship, because I don't think the candle started the fire. I don't think that happened. I think that you're right, the neighbors kind of were outside. I think that we want to kind of talk about maybe the timing of when the fire started. I'm worried that the doctors can find at the autopsy. I think maybe you talk with some of the first responders about maybe not even wanting an autopsy done.
No, it's that whole, not because I don't want to know what happened, because, I mean, Mike and I had that conversation. It was to Mike. That whole cutting and pulling everything out, even in that shape, just...
And I just got to look at the totality of all that information and try to figure out what's going on and if there's other explanations for it. Because what I think is that maybe we're not being completely truthful about the interactions in the morning. I think just talking here a little bit of inconsistencies on our conversation. So that's my job. I'm a fact finder. My concern is that there's going to be facts that come up that are suspect of something else happening. And maybe I might jump to the wrong conclusion. You know, if there's something more going on with the relationship, or there's an argument that happened, you know, I need to know that because I can't. I wasn't there, you know, so I can't interject and maybe speculate what I think happened. I can't go with facts because if it's not, you know, I mean, you indicate that I can't. If the fire guys end up saying, you know, fire was started by a candle, I can't find any other reason for it. I need to figure out what would happen. Why would a fire start in this room?
I don't know. I don't.
And then if the autopsy comes back and there's concerns for the medical examiner has, you know, I got to be prepared to deal with that. You understand how that works. They run toxicology and that kind of stuff. You know, make sure that there's not any other system failures or something like that in his body. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think this was a heart attack or a stroke or anything like that. I just don't think that's going to be the fact. The relationships are tough, and I think that they snowball and things get out of control. Sometimes we as people are trying to look at doing the right things for our kids. And when money starts piling up and we start looking at outs, I think that that's definitely a reason why things like this happen. Well, maybe Tim's not contributing in a certain way. Maybe there's some way that maybe you're grasping onto a hope that there's a way to get out of this mess. Because I think that's what this case is going to show us. I think we're going to find some things that the autopsy is going to say he didn't die. I think there's going to be, the fire guys are going to tell us that the fire didn't start by the candle. And it's going to leave Mike and I to sit here and say, okay, maybe this was planned and something that I've thought about for a long time. Maybe it was one of those things where I just can't take life anymore. It's the only thing I thought I could do to keep my family, keep going, and Kate with me. I get that, I understand that. But I think that that's what we're going to find out apart. And I guess I'd rather hear that from you, so I get sort of a little emotion with that instead of the black and white, because I think maybe something happened during the night or the morning that he didn't know what to do now. I think that things just steamrolled, and maybe looking back, if we could change things, we would. I think you're a good person. I think that we would change things. but the information that you're giving us is not gonna correlate with what the evidence shows. But you know, we're probably not gonna have you on camera at the bank. We're not gonna have you on cell towers where you're at. The neighbors knew when they left the house and when the fire started. Now's the opportunity to help us understand.
I went to the bank. I have the money in my purse.
But it's not going to change how the fire started or how he died. You know, I think that we all wish that maybe if it was just an accidental fire, right, that would make things easier. But you know, maybe the house burned down and people responded. They accept that. In this case, they didn't. They called us and they investigated. And I think you have to do.
Right, I understand that.
And I'm going to go through the evidence. I'm going to have to present it. I'm going to have to discuss it. I'm going to say, this is not plausible. I don't think Barb's at this other end of the spectrum where she just did this because she wants to be a soccer coach.
That's like
That's
long
way
time ago.
I know, but these are the things that come out.
Right, I understand.
Right, if you were going to say, oh, she just wanted the money, it's a life insurance thing. You know, I'm not going to, she wanted Hank gone because he didn't treat her well, he didn't do anything, he was lazy.
I wanted one of my kids to have their father.
Companies don't understand legal workflows. I hear this objection all the time that technology companies don't understand legal workflows. It's true, but it's also nuanced.
Come on.
When a storm's on the way, care.
What do you think is going to happen when the medical examiner calls me up? Because I don't even need to wait for his call, but they know that he's going to tell me there's some concerns here with this body.
Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, please. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, please.
And I don't think that that's going to be possible that when he left, he was alive.
He was snoring.
And I think that the medical examiners might differ to that. But I'm telling you right now that nobody in this room believes that that's the true story. I think we're leaving some things out because I see some bad stuff. Right? And I can go to bed and think that the worst, that Laura just wanted the money because she wanted her kids are almost out of school, she wanted to do with them, she just wanted the money to live her life that she didn't get. Right? Those are the things that come out. When I look at you, I see a mom that's worked her butt off all the years trying to put a good house with her kids. I see bills coming out. I see Tim saying that he wants a divorce and he's going to leave you. Maybe the kids want to go with him, and you're losing everything that you worked so hard for, and your life comes crumbling down. And I think you're looking for an out. And I think that's what it was. But I think it was an out. I think we'll find out what happened to Tim medically, and I think we'll find out that the fire was set afterwards to cover that up. Tim might have been quiet towards you, but he wasn't quiet to other people about his relationship problems. He talked about the issues you guys had going on, and I put him with the facts of the scene and the facts of the scene. I have to add all that up and see what it looks like. It's heavily weighted that you're at fault here. We all know that. I just don't want to get the wrong assumption. I don't want to get the true story out there that this wasn't because you're angry. And this wasn't because you're upset. I want to hear that this was done for the reason that you think they were. And I think I know. I think it's for your children. I think you really thought this was the best thing to be able to get them money that you need to survive, keep the house, keep the kids. And if you guys were going to get separated anyhow, you know that was coming.
We had lived in this kind of relationship probably for the last 5 years, just existing.
And that's not a good place.
No, it's not.
Did you want a divorce? Couldn't afford to get divorced? Is that a problem? That was a conversation I'm sure you had.
Right, I had that conversation with my two close friends. You know, financially we couldn't separate. Financially, you know, what would we do with the house? I could afford bills, but I couldn't afford for the kids to have their home, yeah. But we just existed that way, and that's the way we were.
And without Tim's money coming in, you wouldn't be able to exist by yourself, right?
Right. But like I said, every time that we had gotten to that point, you know, I'm like, why don't you just leave? He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave his kids.
In fact, he wanted his kids.
Right.
And maybe he was even trying to get one on his side.
And I told Owen that day that when he said, Mom, why didn't you just, would you be happier separated? I said, Owen, honestly, I have stayed this long because I wasn't sure he would go with me. Because he was closer to his dad. Because his dad was the easygoing one, and I'm the one who yelled to clean your room.
But you're also the one that goes to all the tournaments.
Right.
And get his laundry done and get all that.
Well, Tim did a lot of most days.
And I get that. So at the same time, you're dealing with that struggle of like giving so much over the years. Now, Dad, just because you want your buddies, are politicking against you, trying to separate the family. I understand that. I can understand when things out of control. I don't understand how it got to this point.
It didn't get to this point.
The evidence is going to show that. We're going to track all that back. It's going to prove that something.
The only thing you're going to prove is I didn't go through court and I cut through Russell.
Why would you tell me that?
I told him that Saturday. But I don't know.
Well, I understand.
I cut through there so I could drive faster because I was running behind. I don't exactly know what time I left town. But I stopped and got $200 out of the Farmers Bank. I didn't do anything.
You started the fire.
No, I didn't. I set the candle there.
And the candle didn't start the fire.
Then I don't know.
Or look at it from our standpoint.
I know that.
If the fire starts moments after you're gone, your neighbors are over there trying to pound on the window. Tim's not responsive. Your dog still lives, but Tim doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know why the dog lived. I don't know why this happened.
And I think, on the inside, I think you do. I want to be able to put your story out there, Barb. I want people to understand what happened. Because the truth's going to come out, and it's going to be my evidence only. And that's what I need. I want more. I want us to leave here knowing the full truth, Barb. I don't want to have to ask these hard questions at all, and I don't want to have to sit there and figure out what's going on that night and ask them all the questions. I want to talk to you.
That night was a peaceful night. I baked my cookies and did all that and he did
nothing.
No, I'm not saying he didn't do nothing. That night he went for a walk. I don't know if he took the trash out or not.
It was
took
a
over
conversation
the laundry.
between Owen and Tim that
I don't know. They went for a walk.
things.
No, I don't know. I yelled at the kids to get their stuff ready. So, because I know that half the time we can't find you, and then you have to dig through stuff. And at 6, when you had to be somewhere at 6:30, I didn't want that to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say I killed my husband. Just because I might be off 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I did not.
And I think the investigation going to show otherwise, but I'm confident that I would sit here and tell you that if I wasn't fully confident in it. I think the doctors drew your head down, so we know he has strong concerns on what happened. I have some strong concerns about the stories that you give because they've changed. I think when it comes out that the fire started and you leave and you drive away, and maybe you weren't, why those neighbors have to be outside because you didn't leave at 6:50, you were at 7:15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I mean, that'll tell us too, and now the bank, the ATM's going to have a camera that shows what time you had your money in. Cell phone records will show where you're at. Make phone calls. I think everybody's calling you and you're scared to answer.
No, I wasn't. My phone was not working. I got text or voicemails today from Saturday because in the night I did some kind of update. Because I'm like, how did I miss 7 voicemails? And they're from like Saturday. That weren't there before.
I'm not going to argue with you on that because the cell phone companies will tell me if they're connected or not. I don't need you to tell me if they made a connect call or not.
I called Verizon last night trying to get access to Tim's phone because he had all these pictures of the kids and the phone was broke. I wanted that. Only reason, because she told me I'd have a court order and everything else. So when they tell you that, that was the reason. The kids have been trying to call his voicemail to record it, and it goes to our automated system. I asked him how to get that back.
And I'm sure you are. I'm sure that you're trying to deal with things with Owen and Kate and getting them squared away. And we can't get past what happened Saturday morning. But it's not going to go away no matter how much we try to spin a story or say things happen this way. You know, maybe if the house went up in flames and collapsed on itself, maybe we wouldn't have known things. You know, he was not that badly left. The doctor's able to do a proper examination on it and come to conclusions. You know, you get called by your daughter that their house is on fire, and you don't even call to see if he's okay. You don't call him because you know he's already dead.
No, I didn't. I was just trying to take care of him. No.
That's exactly what somebody does when somebody calls and says, my house on fire. When I left, I know my husband's in there.
And I also had fire trucks and everything else was there. Because that was something that Kate had said. Mom, there's a fire at the house and they're there.
And it leaves Mike and I to think, okay, they've had problems with their marriage since 2010. Tim's expressed concerns to family members that the divorce was imminent. Think they weren't getting along very well. And maybe Barb did plans for months or weeks. Maybe it was that cold calculated. Because I think that's what the evidence is going to show us, Barb. You know, when I talk with people in the rooms, I guarantee we cannot change when things happen, Barb, but we can go back in time. I like to hear people that say that I wish it wouldn't have went that far. You know, at least give me the information that they feel bad about it. I don't think I'm sitting across from a person that has any of those concerns. And that concerns me. I think in your mind, you're truly trying to do what you thought was best. It help us understand that.
Say something, woman.
On-the-job accidents can happen like that, causing an injury that lingers and expenses that keep coming. Call to find out more about your legal...
Speak up, forever hold your peace. Damn, that's hot.
I'm here to listen to you, but
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
that's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to tell you that I have talked to people like you before that have been in situations like this, that when they're pushed up against the wall and things didn't work out like they were planned, I tried to talk with them to figure out why. I know how it happened. I know when it happened. I'm pretty sure they know exactly where and what time it happened. That's going to come out. I'm going to have all those facts, but the one piece I'm missing is the why part. And that's what everybody's going to want to know. And why did this happen? I want to be here to be able to write that end of the story for you. I don't want to just use the who, what, when, and where. I want to know why things happen. That's important. It's not necessary. We can go forward with our case with the evidence we have, and it looks pretty damn good. I think things add up. And as human beings, we can only take so much. And then we have to go into what can I do to keep some sense of normalcy? How can I keep my house? How can I keep my kids? And then we have choices to make. How we understand how we got to where we did. Marvin, you shake your head, you know I'm right. What was the breaking point for you?
I don't have anything to say. I didn't have a breaking point.
You understand where I'm coming from? You understand what the health looks and what's going to happen. You understand you watch TV shows, you're in the medical field, you know they're going to be able to do toxicology and figure out what happened. That's going to come back on you. The fire didn't destroy his body. That's going to get back to you. And then it's just going to be evidence.
I don't understand. So I
Well, then take me through it. What led up to that decision? Because we know
there's no decision.
he didn't die on his own. But something happened that morning for you to decide that today is the day. I don't know if it was the timing of the school and not wanting to go with you. It was just the opportunity.
We're being happy and depressed with life, and
We're past that. You know, Mike and I are telling you that we're way past whether this happened, like you thought or not. We know that this happened.
okay, so then you're
We freely, it's not going to change things over.
I know. It'll just prolong it to another day.
What's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
What am I supposed to tell her?
I don't know.
What am I supposed to tell her sisters?
I don't.
What happens when it comes back to maybe
I don't know. Obviously, you have any answers, and I don't.
At this point, I didn't see your cell phone, and you don't want to hear people right now. Ready to warn you. First one. So I'll make your cell phone.
You work for it now?
Which I'm seizing them right now. We saw here.
police station. She and the kids lived with her mother as the fire was still under investigation. The results of the autopsy came in. Chief Demery said the medical examiner found no smoke inhalation in Tim's lungs, meaning he was deceased before the fire. Tim and Barbara's son, Owen, asked to speak with the police. Officer Moore met with him at the station. Owen said that the evening before the fire, he and his father had gone on a walk, and Tim had expressed to him that a divorce from his mother would be happening soon. Owen said that his parents' relationship had recently been bad, with fights occurring more often than not. He believed that his mother had something to do with Tim's death. Detectives then spoke with other family and friends of the Pazas. Sonia, a friend of Barbara, said that she and Barbara had gone out to eat one evening about 2 weeks before the fire. Sonia said they were discussing stuff going on in their life, and out of the blue, Barbara stated loudly that she was upset with Tim. She discussed a pending divorce and her concerns about who the kids would want to live with. She also mentioned their financial struggles. Sonia said that Barbara would spend a lot of time shopping for herself, her kids, and her friends. Spending money was one of her favorite things to do. During their conversation, Barbara said that she hated Tim and that if she wanted to get rid of someone, she knew she could. Sonia brushed off the comments as a harmless rant. Tim's friend Rich said Barbara wanted people to know how much she was giving or how much she was doing. She tried to portray herself as the perfect mom and the perfect family. Police located documentation showing that the Paza home was nearing foreclosure, credit card bills were past due, and Barbara had maxed out Tim's life insurance. She had also increased the amount on the homeowner's insurance policy. Officer Moore said that Tim was worth a lot more to her dead than alive. The day following the interview with Barbara, dispatch received a 911 call from her mother's residence advising that Barbara was having seizure-like symptoms. She was suffering from an overdose and was transported to a hospital in Des Moines. With Barbara recovering, detectives focused on finding evidence that she orchestrated her husband's death. The standard toxicology test found no foreign substances, so the medical examiner ordered a more thorough lab test. The results showed elevated levels of a drug named propofol. Propofol is a fast-acting drug that is commonly used to sedate patients undergoing surgery. In large doses, it can cause an individual to stop breathing and can lead...
Ain't that the drug that killed Michael Jackson? Let's not talk about that.
...to death. Investigators spoke with staff at the hospital where Barbara worked. They explained how propofol was administered and disposed of. Propofol is stored in single-use vials, which must be disposed of regardless of whether the entire contents were used. Barbara would have had access to trace amounts of unused propofol. In fact, she was responsible for disposing of the vials. Police recovered the ATM footage of Barbara. The video placed her in Centerville, 2 minutes from her home, at 7:25 a.m. Less than 10 minutes later, at 7:33, her neighbor made the 911 call. When Barbara was released from the hospital, officers were there to arrest her. On May 18, 2018, Barbara Passa was charged with first-degree murder and first-degree arson. On September 17, 2019, the trial began. According to the defense, the police arrested the wrong person. They implicated a fellow nurse who lived nearby as somebody who could have entered the residence and injected Tim with propofol. Police determined that the nurse had left home that morning at 5:30 a.m. and was not in the area when the incident occurred. Barbara took the stand. She showed emotion and talked about some of her past traumatic experiences and claimed that she would not have taken her children's father from them. Sonia said that Barbara tried to convince people that she was not the evil person everybody knows her to be. Rich said that her tears were phony. The entire thing was phony. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and returned guilty verdicts. The judge sentenced her to life without parole. Chief Milburn said that the sentence was not a win. There are 2 children without a father or a mother, and they will remember this forever. Sonia said Tim should be remembered for the proud dad he was. She said he would be beyond proud of the lives they're living and all their successes. The town of Centerville raised over $20,000 for the kids. They now live with family members and have no contact with their mother. For more never-before-seen cases, click one of the videos on screen or the link